Got cardboard? Got party streamers? Well, today I'm going to show you how you can make a custom piñata for your next party. The cardboard's from your recycling bin. The paper streamers are from our sponsor, Paper Mart. You can find them online at www.papermart.com. And while you're there, check out all the other wonderful party supplies they have, from stuff to wrap your presents with to the stuff you need to set your table and decorate. They've got it all and for the best prices. So let's go to the table and I'm going to show you how we're going to turn this into a one-of-a-kind decoration for your next party. Okay, so you're going to need quite a bit of cardboard for this project. So what you want to do first is throw a piece of cardboard on your table to protect your work surface. And then we're going to have some smaller pieces we're going to use for the sides of our piñata. And we're going to need two fairly big pieces for the front. Now, if you're not comfortable drawing, you could go online and print out a coloring page. But I'm just going to freehand on a cupcake. Don't worry about your lines. You're not going to see any of these. I'm going to draw it with a bigger end here so you can see. I'm just going to draw my basic cupcake shape and try to keep it really bold. You don't want to have any parts that are going to be really hard to cut out. So that's really all you have to do. Now what I'm going to do is use a craft knife. These kind with the snap off blades are great because once it gets dull you can snap off a new section. And I'm going to cut this out just like so. Now after I have this cut out, I'm going to trace this on another piece of cardboard and I'm going to cut one out that's exactly the same size. Okay, so I've got my two cutout pieces here, the same size. I'm going to set those aside, and now I'm going to make some strips of cardboard. And this is about 7 inches wide, so what I'm going to do is just mark 3.5 on each end, and I'm going to cut out 3.5-inch strips. You can make your piñata any size or shape that you want. All you have to do is just, you know, alter your first picture, but the strips, everything else is going to be the exact same no matter what you do for a shape. And you do not have to be perfect. If something's a little bit off, it really doesn't matter. So go ahead and make quite a few strips of these. You want to make sure that you have enough so you don't have to stop while you're constructing your piñata. You're also going to need some masking tape for this. Just be careful you don't use too much or it's going to be really hard for the kids to break open at your next party. Alright, so these strips that we cut, what you want to do is kind of bend them a little bit, and when you cut the strips, this is important, I didn't mention it before, you kind of want to cut against the those lines, and it's going to be a lot easier to bend it and form it. So to get started is a little bit awkward because what you need to do is get this to, and actually I kind of want to make sure the bottom is going to be strong. I want to bend this around and tape it in place. You can use hot glue if you want, but I find that, that the tape does a really good job. I've made so many piñatas for birthday parties for my kids and my neighbors' kids. I'll show you some of those at the end of the video. I just love it. I think it's so fun. I think cardboard is such a forgiving medium. Oh, something else I wanted to mention. If you wanted to do one of the kind of piñatas that you just pull a string at the bottom, not the kind you whack with a stick, you can, you want to make sure you have a seam so that you'd want to start your cardboard here, have its own seam from like here to there so you can actually attach ribbons and yank that out. But for the traditional piñatas that you kind of hit with a stick, my favorite kind of piñatas, you want to make sure the bottom's got a little bit more strength to it. It also helps to pre-cut your tape like I have so that you don't have to let go of the piñata as you're working. But you can see it's very easy to do this. Alright, let's grab another piece of cardboard. So you can see, you know, you can have gaps here and there. You're not going to notice it when we go on to decorate. Alright, so we need to have a spot where we can fill it. So I like to leave a gap towards the top. So right about here is where I'm going to leave it open. I'm still going around and taping as I go. But now I'm going to start adding on this piece of strip here, and then we're going to add the top of our cardboard. And as you can see, you can use any cardboard box. This is from from the grocery store. Sometimes I'll grab some boxes so that I don't have to use bags if I forget my reusable bags. That's going to work really well. And I love that you can do this in whatever shape you like. So you know what, there, I think I want to have it overlap a little bit just to make sure it's going to be strong. You want it strong, but not too strong. You want the kids to actually be able to break into this. Okay, so I have attached on this side everything except for this last gap here because I want to have room to fill the piñata later. Now, while I've got this open, I'm going to poke a hole with an awl here at the top, and that will just be so I can put fishing line or ribbon in it later for hanging. You want to make sure you put that fishing line in before you close up your piñata for good. Now, the other piece, we're going to do the exact same thing, except we're taping on this side, and it's going to be a little bit easier because we already have our, you know, the base made. So go around and tape the top part down. All right, so we've got this cupcake shaped box made. If you find a few spots where you think you've gone a little way without attaching it and you want to fill it in, you can. Just remember, it's going to be a lot sturdier than you think. So you want to make sure the kids will actually be able to open this up. Now, I put a hole on one side, so of course I need the hole on the other side. Just watch out for your fingers when you poke that in there. So you could put a ribbon or a fishing line or whatever in later. Then I thought, you know, it would be great if I could keep the hatch able to be open and shut, because I really don't need a piñata right off. So what I'm going to do, I've made a bend right here at the end where the flap closes. I'm going to just cut a little bit there, taper it off so that I will be able to open and close this as needed. So what I'm doing is just putting a little bit of paper there, so I get a little cardboard down to protect my surface, and then I'm just cutting that off on an angle, and then that little tab will be able to go in there and kind of hold it shut there after we have it all decorated. So I'll be able to open that up afterwards. All right, so I'm going to show you some techniques for using crepe paper on your piñata. So the simplest technique would be to simply wrap your piñata. And you do that by taking your party streamer and simply going around and around with it. And I like to use hot glue if I'm doing this by myself. If you're doing this with kids, you can use any sort of white craft glue, but you know, it's just a lot easier if I'm just doing it by myself to use the regular hot glue. And this is a great base, so if you do want to do something fancy on top, this is a great way to get it started. And it's a great way to fill an area really, really quickly. I'm also going to show you a couple other textural techniques. So just go around and you can try this wrapping technique on your piñata. The next technique I'm going to show you is fringing. So what you want to do is cut off a length of the crepe paper, and then either using regular scissors or fringe scissors, you just want to go in and cut little slits. The fringe scissors make it a little bit quicker if you're doing tiny fringes, but you can definitely do wider fringes or even smaller fringes with regular scissors. You can see it does cut this pretty easily, even though you probably think of crepe paper being too soft to really cut, it works fine. And then you can do the exact same thing, but since we have this base of the wrapped piñata underneath here, just the wrapped crepe paper, it's really going to look nice. And I want to, if you're doing a fringe, you want to start at the bottom and work so you're overlapping it on the top. So we're going to start down here on the bottom. Any loose areas you have from the wrapping, just touch them down with a little bit of glue. And then I'm just going to start here with a bead of glue, and I'm going to work around. And you do need to glue, if you're working on a slopey edge like this, you do need to glue all the way around. And you're going to continue in this fashion until you've covered this whole bottom area. But I like the fact that we're going to have a really nice bright yellow because we've just done a plain wrap underneath. And so when we get to do the next level, see, we're just overlapping that. So we're going to have layer upon layer of fringy goodness. Alright, after you have all of the fringe on, you can just kind of fluff it and give it a little bit of volume there. It looks really cool. The next technique is ruffling. So you want to put a little bit of glue down. Again, use white glue if you're doing this with kids, or be very careful if you're doing this yourself, because I'm used to this and I know exactly how close I can get my fingers to it before I injure myself. So you just, you know, use some caution. It doesn't take much to glue this crepe paper down. And then you just kind of scrunch and pleat as you stick it down, and you'll really have some great volume here. And the nice thing is, when you ruffle, you're overlapping that crepe paper, so it covers up any pencil or pen marks you might have on on the pinata. So I'm going to continue this all the way around on the edges and on the sides. So I'll have this will be kind of my cupcake wrapper area. This next technique, I'm going to show you how to get this really fluffy, kind of furry texture here. And what you're going to do is use a regular pair of scissors, and you want to insert it into the crepe paper so that you can cut off a big chunk. Alright, and now you're going to snip these into about 1.5 inch squares, so you're able to make a bunch of these in a short period of time. Alright, see, I've got a whole stack ready to go. Then on a tile over here, and it's good to do this on a tile or a paper plate, I have poured out a little bit of white glue. And then you can either use a pencil or a marker for this. If you're working with kids, I suggest a marker because it's going to go a lot quicker. So then wrap it around the marker. Because it's got a bigger barrel, it'll make larger poofs. Dip the end in some glue and press it down. Now you could cover an area with glue and wrap it and stick it too. It just depends on what you find a little easier. I get a little extra glue there from that first one, so I can just sneak that one in right there. And you want to do this until the whole area is covered. This is a technique my kids love to do, and I can actually leave the project out like a week before a birthday party, and everyone can take part in it. That's what I really love about piñatas. You know it's expensive to fill them with all the candy that you want, so you might as well make your piñata for next to nothing and then spend the money on the good chocolate. The rolls of crepe paper come 2 to a package for $1 at Paper Mart. You can find it online, and I will have a link below the video to the products that I used. And I'd like to show you some other piñatas that I've made. I have a guitar that I made for my twin daughter's rock star party. I have a kite that was really fun. I also have an owl that I did for my son's Harry Potter birthday party. It's so fun to make these special piñatas. I've made a Nintendo mushroom piñata for one of my neighbor's birthdays, and you can really do whatever you can think of. I want to thank Paper Mart for sponsoring this video today. You can find them online at www.papermart.com, where we make you look even better. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.